The main aim of today's session is looking at individual training and player development. So more than the tactics, which is associated with a football team and the coach, individually, every player, or if you're a player watching this, you can improve without, y- yes, you need team training, but what are you doing aside? We might have school, university, work, then we have team training, but then individual training. And a lot of players forget about that. And individual training is not just physical training. It's not just training in the park, going to the gym. It's actually mental training as well. So there are so many different aspects to individual training, and all of that allows you to improve as a football player. So let's get some cones out. So one drill that I used to do when I was playing, and I do with the players that I work with, is what I call the box drill. And then there's a triangle here, and then there's a triangle, and then it's like that. And then the ball starts here. This is your partner, or this could be a wall, or a coach, or your partner, and this is you in the middle. So you're the yellow. So first of all, individual training, you have to, before I go into this drill, what is it that you need to work on? You have to understand what it is that you need to work on. So if I'm a left back, okay, am I good at crossing the ball? Okay, I am very good at crossing the ball. Can I get even better? What are some of my weaknesses? It's my 1v1 duels. So what do I need to do? I need to watch left backs who play in my position, who play similar to me, and really understand what makes them really good at 1v1 defending. So you have to understand what it is that you need to work on. What are your strengths? What are your development points? And how can you maximize your strengths and continue to improve the development points? Obviously, you can't do both at the same time, but there should be one thing that you stand out on the pitch for. So, for example, if I'm a centre midfielder, it could be my ability to dictate the play. So that's my key strength. Now, when I go to the park and train by myself, I'm going to really focus on skills that will allow me to continue to dictate the play. So I can go to the wall, pass against the wall, turn, play out to the other wall, receive. So for example, let's create a wall here. Let's actually imagine, right? Let's do this. So you see these white lines here? This is a wall. So you could do this in a park with in a five-a-side cage. You have the ball here, you play it against this wall, you receive it, then you turn, and then you play it here, and then you receive it again. But in your mind, you are imagining that you are in a match. So you're mentally thinking, wait, I am actually playing in a match. As I've played the ball here, I've received pressure from behind me. What do I do now? So mentally, really focusing on game situations while you're training on your own. That is so important. So point number one, understand yourself. What are your strengths? What are your development points? Point number two, action. That's it. Let's just simplify it. There's nothing more to it. 2 points, right? What do you need to work on? Action. And the action is not just physical training. It's not just physical. It's also mental. It's watching players that play in your position similar to you. So if you look at number eights around the world right now, if I'm a left-footed number eight and I like to get on the ball in the pockets and play incisive passes and take shots and create chaos in the final third, I'm looking at Martin Odegaard. So I'm going to watch Martin Odegaard, not YouTube highlights, not TikTok edits, full matches of Martin Odegaard. And when the ball is far away, I'm still watching Odegaard. I'm still looking at, so why is he walking? Oh, he's checking his shoulder twice. What is he doing? That's how you can sort of get to the next level because you're literally copying a professional player that is playing in your position and a player that is playing similar to you. It's that simple. So, so for example, if I'm a centre back and I'm not a comfortable ball player, so I'm not really comfortable at passing from the back and, you know, being an elite ball player, but I'm very good at heading. I'm aggressive. I'm I'm on the front foot in my duels. Potentially Harry Maguire. I know he's actually good on the ball, but if you look at other ball playing centre backs, he's potentially not on that level. He's just one below. So you could look at Harry Maguire and say, look, I'm not the best ball player, but my actual defending, which is my heading, my positioning, when do I drop to head the ball? When do I step in to be aggressive? I find it similar. So I'm going to watch full matches of Harry Maguire and just watch. And then guess what? When you watch these professional players that play in your position similar to your style of football, you'll see that they make mistakes as well. So when they're making mistakes in a match, it's not, it shouldn't be a surprise to you when you make a mistake in a match. So mentally, you need to be like, the best players in the world make mistakes. So when I make a mistake in a match, it just doesn't matter. It's part of football. The best footballers in the world, Pep Guardiola said it about Foden. He just gets on with the next action. He just completely forgets about his previous action. So when you watch players in your position, it gives you a different perspective because now you're seeing them make mistakes and you're like, hang on a minute. So he'll make a mistake and I'll make a mistake. But what separates me and him, right? Or her, is the fact that they continue to play at their level. They never shy away from the ball. They don't lose confidence. They just get on with it because they know their strengths, they know who they are, and they know that football is chaos. So things are going to happen and it's just part of football. So when you watch players in your position who play similar to you, just understand that bit as well. As much as you understand the technical, tactical aspects, the mental bit. For example, if I'm watching Rodri, he's given the ball away 3 times in a row, and he's still showing for the ball from the centre backs. Wow, that's the level of bravery. That's the level of confidence I need to get to. And once you get to that level, you will stand out on the pitch. There could be a scout watching and be like, this player has a lot of resilience, mentally he's very strong, and has a technical ability. Okay, I'm gonna have a proper look at him. There you go, that's your trial. So yes, the technical, the physical, the tactical aspects are very important when you watch the players in your position play on TV, for example. But also watch the mental bit because they're all linked, right? So that's that bit done. The second bit, as we just said, so the first bit was mentally, second bit physically. Okay. So for example, if I'm Rodri, let's just focus on Rodri as a centre midfielder. If I'm a centre midfielder, okay, my strength is receiving the ball from the left, playing it to the right, receiving it from the right, playing it to the left. So that's what I'm going to focus on. In my individual training, that's what I'm going to focus on. So right now, this is the wall, right? Let's just put a couple blue dots here to make it seem like a wall. But this could also be a partner, this could be a coach, this could be anyone that will just give the ball back to you. Anyone or anything, right? So this is you in the middle. You receive the ball, you take a directional first touch this way, and then you play it back. And then you come back in the middle. You receive it, directional first touch this way. You play it, and you receive it back. Now, the important thing is, I've just said directional first touch, right? But what's really important is that touch efficiency must be considered. What does that mean? Touch efficiency. So, how efficient are you with your football? If you're a centre midfielder and you can switch the play with 2 touches, touch, play, you are very efficient. Your speed of play is very quick. If you can do it in 1 touch, that's very good because sometimes when you're seeing the ball come from the left, you rotate your body. First time you can hit the diagonal pass out to your winger on the right hand side, for example. You can do that as well. So depending on obviously that depends on the weight and speed of pass, but in general, if you can do it in 2, 3 touches, touch efficiency, you increase your speed of play. And speed of play comes from knowing what you're going to do next. So when the ball goes here and it comes back to you, you know that you're going to this side. So you get your body position sorted, ready, 1 touch out, 1 touch play. Oh, 1 touch play. Then you're back in the middle. receive, one touch out, one touch play, back in the middle. And then it could be that you label these one, two, three, four cones. Label the cones in the square, and then when one is called out, you go to cone number one. One touch directional, play, drop in. Two, directional first touch, receive. And then if number three is called out, then you backpedal. So you're running backwards. You receive the ball, touch, play, and you're back in the middle. That right there is very, very, very match realistic. So this replicates your centre back, for example, and this is you as a centre midfielder. You've seen the space behind the two strikers pressing you. So these could be the two strikers pressing you. You're moving away from the ball as the pass comes in, directional first touch. You're receiving behind the front two. If you watch Busquets, if you watch Rodri, if you watch right now Nico Gonzalez at Man City as well, these players are very good at receiving the ball behind the line. Now I've just now I've just focused on centre defensive midfielders, right? But this could be a centre back. If you're a centre back, when could you do this? You play the ball, this could be your left back. You're receiving to play to the other side of the pitch, for example. This could be your centre defensive midfielder giving the ball back to you, so you have to take a direction of first touch and play to the other side of the pitch. This could be your this could be your winger who's dropped in, wants to give it back to you. You take a direction of first touch, you play the striker in behind, for example. So this could be the goalkeeper, right? This could be your goalkeeper giving the ball to you. Sometimes it happens back to goal. Can you turn? Can you deal with the ball comfortably? And then you have these two cones, sorry, three cones, the ones on the outside, where if you receive it, you dribble all the way round. So you might have to take two or three extra touches. When you play it, can you receive it back here, direction of first touch in this gap, and then you play it back? So this drill is working on playing through gaps, receiving through gaps, and that's it. That's very match realistic. So for me, my number one training exercise that I'd recommend is this, honestly. More than any other drill, it's this right here. It's getting a couple cones. If you don't have cones, you get some shoes, you get something to put one, two, three, four, five, six, seven cones, right? Three on the outside. So then if you need to go behind, half turn, this is you receiving on the half turn. If you're an attacking midfielder, right? This is your centre defensive midfielder. This is your centre back. Giving you the ball on the half turn, drive to this cone, do a sharp turn, and then play it back. Very match realistic. And this works on your first touch. This works on your physical fitness as well, because the more you do this, you'll see that it's actually quite tiring. But it works on your sharpness, it works on your touch efficiency, it works on your awareness, because this person could call out number four. So you have to dribble past round four. Then this person could point to this side. Then they could point behind you. Then they could say two, three. So you have to dribble to two, then dribble to three, then pass it. So it's sharpening the mind, it's increasing your awareness, it's increasing your decision making, it's increasing your touch, and what I like to call receiving the ball from different angles. So you become more of a 360-degree angle player, right? Let me write that out here. 360-degree angle player. So this means that you're fully comfortable, right? No matter where you are on the pitch, you can comfortably receive the ball. That's what it means. Yeah. We talked about touch efficiency. We talked about decision making, awareness. So these things are are very important to any footballer, no matter where you are on the pitch. These are things that are not really spoken about. I haven't seen a lot of videos on social media about these little aspects. It's always about, okay, do a 1v1 skill. It's always about take shots, how to shoot with more power, how to pass with better accuracy. But these things will allow you to do that. This right here. And then we said We spoke about watching players in your position who play similar to you. That is really important because once you do this, once you watch players in your position who play similar to you, that's when you can base your individual training on that to get better. So if I am a left winger and I have pace and good 1v1 dribbling, I could look at Vinicius Jr. He's got pace, good 1v1 dribbling. I'm going to really analyze Vinicius Jr. What makes him that good? What is it? And then off the ball, I'm going to watch him. On the ball, I'm going to watch him. And then the situations that he finds himself in a lot in the game and that I find myself in are very similar because we play in the same position. So in training, I'm going to think like that. So I can still do this practice, but thinking like Venice, like thinking like I'm in that moment. So this is your, so if you're a left winger, yeah, this could be your left back. Gives you the ball, directional first touch into spaces. This could be your centre midfielder giving you the ball. How's the weight of your touch into that space? Because and then through here you're dribbling through defenders because it's a tight area of the pitch. So you're dribbling through areas like this, and then you're playing it back, and then your job's not done. You're quickly back into the space to receive the ball and go somewhere else. So just being very dynamic, but being very fluid. So understand what you need to work on, base your individual training around the situations you find yourself in most often. I need to write that down. Base your individual training sessions on situations you find yourself in most often. On match situations, right? This this is like extremely important. I can't stress how important this one is here. Yeah. So in a game, when do you actually dribble in and out of cones? Doesn't happen. But that does help you with your first touch, with your dribbling, of course. But then you have to apply it in a match situation. So there are no cones in a match, but you can dribble through the cones thinking like you're a winger, dribbling through a couple players, but then there has to be some end product. So really create match realistic situations when you are training by yourself. I, yeah, I can't stress that enough. It helped me a lot as a player, definitely. It's helping the players that I work with right now as well. It's it's fundamental. If I'm a right back who's very comfortable on the ball, I might look at Trent Alexander-Arnold. I might look at Valverde now, who's playing at right back for Real Madrid. I might look at, I don't know, who else is a comfortable right back? Malo Gusto is actually quite comfortable on the ball as well. Timber, very comfortable. So looking at these players, and then you'll see that these fullbacks invert and play in the central areas. So when do they do that? Why do they do that? Now that bit is down to your coach, because some coaches don't want the fullbacks inside. So that's down to you and the coach. But in general, if you just look at their technical ability, why are they so comfortable on the ball? Why do they make the decisions? Why do they make the right decisions 98% of the time? Why do I make it 60% of the time? Right? So there's a 38% gap between me and that pro player. How can I get there? I'm going to watch them every single day. I'm going to watch them in full, not YouTube highlights, not TikTok edits. Full highlights, sorry, full match replays and really get to the understanding of what makes them a pro and how I can get to that level. Once you understand that, then you have your individual training. And this bit here, this could be 30 minutes non-stop and that's it. It doesn't have to be an hour. It doesn't have to be 2 hours. You don't have to be saying, oh, I just worked out for 4 hours in a day. If you're very mentally switched on, you can do half an hour of training and that's it. And that's good enough because that half an hour is pure focus, pure execution of what you need to work on, and that's it. And it could be an hour, of course, no problem. But don't just look at your training and say, okay, I'm just going to do an hour and that's it. Focus on what you're doing, focus on the quality, and the quantity will just be there as well. Like, personally, I did this during COVID when I was playing, and obviously we didn't have team training. I focused on these types of drills 40 minutes a day, but without water breaks. So 40 minutes, I was doing practices like this without a break. And my fitness obviously went up, my ability in tight spaces went up, my game understanding went up. So then when I went back to my team training, I was very sharp. I found more time on the board. I found more space on the pitch. I played as a number eight and sometimes as a centre defensive midfielder. So I really used this practice. I would play the ball, receive it, drive, turn. I would really make it match realistic. Cool. Now, the next bit is taking notes. So when you're watching the player that plays in your position and the player that plays similar to you, right? You can mentally register a lot of things, but also you should be taking notes. So taking notes on, or even drawing diagrams with your tactics board. So if this player, so for example, if I'm let's reset the board. No, no, let's not. Let's put these here. Cool. Okay. So if I'm one of these two centre midfielders here, and we're playing a back four with two centre defensive midfielders, and I'm one of these players here. Let's say I'm watching uh let's say I'm watching Enzo Fernandez right now, right? If I'm watching a full match of Chelsea, I might see that every time the near side centre back gets the ball, which is the right centre back, and Enzo is, for example, the right centre midfielder, why is he always dropping here, which allows Gusto to go up, for example? Or why is he always dropping there? And when you ask yourself why, you'll get an answer because you'll see certain patterns happening. So, for example, right side centre back gets the ball, Enzo is dropping there. I'm just making an example, right? He's dropping here. Why? Right. So that means there's space opened up here because Cole Palmer's playing in the pockets. Now he can drop into this space, or Nicholas Jackson as a striker can drop in, right? Or the winger, Madueke can drop into these spaces. Oh, so Enzo Fernandez is creating space because now if Palmer drops in, Palmer will have pressure behind him. Enzo is the option for the set. Madueke is making a run in behind, right? And now Enzo can use his strengths, which is potentially the ball over the top, a nice weighted pass in behind, and that's Enzo Fernandez. So I've just given you an example, right? Thinking like that is how you can find solutions, or is how you can find answers to certain things that happen on the pitch. Because if you type that on Google, Google won't give you the answer. Why does Enzo Fernandez always drop into this space? It's not going to have that answer. Only you can have that answer. And once you find that answer, your game IQ goes up. That's literally how it works, right? If I'm Andrew Robertson for Liverpool, why does Robertson always drop very deep to receive the ball from Van Dijk? Why? Oh, it's because when he drops very deep here, if there's a winger marking him, if the winger follows, look at that space here for maybe McAllister to receive the ball, for Diaz, the winger, the left winger to receive the ball, for, I don't know, Jota to drop into the pockets, right? If the winger stays where he is, oh, Robertson actually receives the ball and now Robertson can play. So it's just asking yourself, dude, it's just asking yourself those questions. Why do certain players do certain movements all the time? Find the answer. Is it because they've been told by the coach? Yes, definitely. So then These are things that you can add to your game because it just works. I'm pretty sure your coach, even if he hasn't told you to do this movement when your left centre back gets the ball, when he's not going to tell you no because it works. It works. When you drop deep, if this winger follows you, there's space. If the winger stays, you receive the ball. So it works. So there are certain movements that you can copy and paste to any team you go to any tactic, to any system. It's just fundamentals of a position. So mastering your position means that you study those players that play in your position, right? That play very similar to you. And then you're like, why are they so good? Iniesta, one of my favorite players to watch. Yeah. Barcelona used to play 4-3-3. I mean, used to. They still do. But when Iniesta was playing, it was a 4-3-3 like this. Messi is the false nine. And then Iniesta, when PK had the ball, Iniesta would always move away. And when I was playing, I always thought, why is the player who wants the ball moving away from the ball? How does that make sense? Surely, right? If I want the ball, I'm gonna like go to the ball and ask for it to show to everyone I want to play, I want the ball. But then I realized when Iniesta moves away, he's creating space. And then he can receive the ball further up the pitch. And his strengths were close control in tight spaces, dribbling, passing in tight spaces, taking shots, like all of the attacking stuff. So Iniesta never felt like dropping in here to receive the ball because PK could have just continued to step with the ball. So if this was the striker, this is the number eight marking Iniesta with, and this is the winger here. Iniesta running to the ball, right, suffocates the space for PK. PK now has more pressure. But when Iniesta stayed away, look at this gap. Now this midfielder is a bit confused because if he follows, PK still has space, right? And then Messi would always drop in and receive the ball. There was a moment all the time. I noticed it so much because I grew up watching the ultimate Barcelona team, which is why a lot of my examples come from FC Barcelona. But I saw all the time that this midfielder will suddenly jump and press the ball, and that's when Iniesta received the ball behind this line here. This is the best place to receive the ball as a midfielder here. If you can receive the ball behind that line, now you're that player that can create things and make things happen. And yeah, I saw Iniesta do this all the time, and that's when my game went to another level. And notice how you can make this improvement in bed. You can be watching the game before you go to sleep, understand something, go to sleep, and you wake up as a better player. It literally, if you want to get better overnight, that's how it works. Mentally, you can get better overnight. So mentally, if you understand, you could be eating food, right, and watching a game, and if you see a movement and it clicks, you've improved while eating food. That's how important game analysis is. So you could see, for example, Iniesta moving away from the ball. This midfielder moves, and now this midfielder is thinking, wait a minute, I'm not going to go all the way back. I'm going to go to the ball. Now Iniesta's free. All he has to do is shuffle left or right. Now he can receive the ball, and now he can drive and make things happen. And that's it right there. Like it's simple development. But I promise it is difficult as well. It's simple, but it's very difficult. And the reason is because your mind can get very bored, right? It can get very bored of watching the same thing again and again. My obsession was, I mean, I remember watching a movement that Iniesta did for 1.5 hours, the same clip for 1.5 hours. I put it on slow motion, I put it on zero point 0.2 speed, like very slow. Right? I was literally watching his steps backwards and then understanding when this midfielder stepped to the ball, and when Iniesta moved based on this player's decision. That's how obsessed I became. And then that was very difficult though, because the brain really has to focus. The brain has to really lock in and understand, like, whoa, this is difficult. But as we all know, with new ideas, once you understand it, it's easy to understand after, right? So if there's something that seems so the question you have to ask yourself is it difficult or is it new? So me not knowing, right? I always thought I want the ball. I'm going to go here, get the ball. I didn't know that moving away actually got me the ball, gave me the ball. So at first, it was just a new idea, and that was difficult for my brain to understand. And then I had to really sit with that difficulty and focus one after the other. Focus, 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 focus. And then it's easy. Now I can coach the players that I work with on this same concept, right? So you have to stay patient with yourself. You have to stay patient with your development as a player, but understand that when it's time to really analyze and understand, and it gets difficult mentally, and you really want to say, you know what, forget it, it's too much. That's when you have to really focus. You have to lock in and say, no, 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 I'm going to sit here until I understand it. And that's what I did. And that's what helped my game understanding. Because once I understood this bit, I understood other bits as well. I understood that, okay, that's why Busquets is not running to the ball. He's staying away because there's a number 10 marking Busquets, right? So if Busquets runs to the ball, the number 10 is there. Now, if Busquets stays away here, now the number 10. If the number 10 follows, there's space for maybe Xavi or Messi once again to receive the ball, or Piqué to drive with the ball. If the number 10 eventually goes to the ball, guess what? Busquets receives the ball. If we draw that line again, look at that line. Busquets receiving the ball behind that line. That's the that's the connection of the dots. So let's draw this and let's draw this as well. Yeah. I just want everyone watching this to understand what I mean. So number eight, number six, same concepts, same exact concepts right here. The CDM staying away from the ball, the number eight staying away from the ball. And that's when I realized, right, so that's how I need to play as a midfielder. And that's what changed my game. That's what got me to a different level of playing overnight, almost overnight. I just spent a day really focusing. The next day, it's just because this stuff is just movement, it's off the ball movement. And a lot of your game is off the ball. How many minutes in a game do you actually touch the ball? When you receive the ball, touch, play. That's like 2 seconds. When you receive it again, touch, play. That's 3 seconds. So two plus three, that's 5 seconds. And then you go 3 minutes without touching the ball. So in the whole of 90 minutes, your total amount of touches, it probably just is maximized to maybe 1 minute or 2 minutes. So what are you doing for the rest of the game? 88 minutes. Of course, you're running, you're working hard for your team, but when your team have possession of the ball, a lot of it is quick, sharp movements, dropping into spaces, moving out, running in behind. But you need to understand when, and that all comes down to decision making, awareness, and then if you're able to receive the ball comfortably from 360 degrees, which means from here, like all around the pitch, that means that you can always impact your team, right? And you have touch efficiency as well. It's really important that we understand these concepts because that is very really important for your development. Can I ask some questions? Yes, please ask some questions. It's question time now. I sorry guys, I got carried away as I always do when I talk about football. But yeah, please ask any questions. I'm gonna answer some questions, but yeah, as I said, these points are really important. Watching players in your position who play similar to you, right? So if you're a winger, you can watch Vinicius or Bernardo Silva. or whoever, Lamine Yamal, Rafinha, you need to base your individual training sessions on the match situations you find yourself in most often. Stop training on certain things that you're not going to do in a match. There's no point. You want to develop for your matches. You want to be a better player for your matches. So that's where it is. Decision making, really important. Awareness, and that comes from watching players that play in your position. So notice how there's a reason why this was at the top. Yeah, it's all comes down to this game understanding. So that's why when I say individual training, it's not physical. It is, but there's a big part of it that is all mental training. What can I do if I can't watch full matches? If I don't have time, can I watch the first? Yeah, of course, of course. So my point is, you could even watch 10 minutes, but it needs to be 10 minutes, not highlights. 10 minutes of one match. So it could be from the 60th minute to the 70th minute. Just watch 10 minutes and just watch that player, and that's it. So maybe in those 10 minutes, that player doesn't even touch the ball. So that player could go 10 minutes not even touching the ball, but it's okay. You just have to understand like why haven't they touched the ball and what have they done in those 10 minutes? Are they defending? Is he being organized defensively? Is he being disciplined? So whether it's 10, 15 minutes, you just have to watch players for particular amounts of time, but not highlights. Just full matches. How can I make my trainings as match realistic as possible? How can I make my training as match realistic as possible? So yeah, so we've just sort of gone through that. It's just about understanding what you need to work on and basing everything on that. So the training sessions comes from, for example, if I look at if I look at let's have a look at Lissandro Martinez, right? What is Lissandro Martinez very good at? Line breaking passes. He's a ball player. He can drive with the ball. Lissandro Martinez, he's aggressive in 1v1 defending. So these are his key strengths. So when you're doing your individual training, you can focus on driving with the ball. So you literally get the ball from that centre back position, whether you're left or right side of centre back, and you focus on literally driving with the ball as comfortably and as smoothly as possible up to a certain area, and then you could turn and play it back. Potentially, there could be a wall. You play back to the wall, and then you just continue to do that. So that's one aspect. So get the strengths. Let me just write this bit out. Focus on the strengths of the player in your position and then base your training session on replicating those strengths. And that's it right there. That's that's the key. That's very, very important. I get it. Thank you so much. You made something in my head click, literally. Wow. Amazing, Daniel. Glad to hear it. Great news, Daniel. Um, but as I said, when you're watching these players, just focus on the details because it's the details that will separate you from other players. I promise. It's those little details. It's when do they scan? When do they look at the ball? When do they move? When do they stay? Those little details just take your game to a whole new level. And everyone needs to understand that. For example, if I'm a winger, so sorry, if I'm a right back, I could look at Trent Alexander-Arnold and ask myself, why does he always go into this space? And then you'll see that it's because you'll see that, let me just get the Liverpool lineup up. You'll see that McAllister and Gravenberch, they've moved across to this side, so there's actually space to receive the ball. So then you should understand, right? Interpret the space. Interpret the space means that when you see the space, you use the space. And that's what Trent does really well. But this all comes down to if you're that type of a player. So if you're that type of a player like Trent, Alexander-Arnold, then you can drift in these places, in these spaces, and then when you're watching Liverpool play, just watch Trent. Why does he stand all the way here when the ball is here? When the ball goes there, why is he now, for example, in this position? Or why is he here? And then when the ball goes there, he's coming here. When the ball is out to Diaz, why is he drifted inside? Why? Ask yourself why, and you'll get the answers. It's just part of football. You will get the answers when you ask yourself those questions. So Vinicius is good at dribbling and shooting. I would need to work on that a lot to become like him. Exactly. But you need to put yourself in those match situations like Vinicius. So when you're training, focus on being that left winger. So when you receive the ball, you're playing as that left winger, then you're driving, then you're cutting in, then you're shooting, and then you can focus on the technique. But mentally, imagine there's a right back and you have to dribble the right back. And then the right back is fast. So you have to cut back and then you have to shield the ball. Like mentally, you have to play like you're playing in a match. That is something that a lot of people don't talk about in individual training. When you're playing in a match, it's not, sorry, when you're training, just mentally lock into it being a match. You've received the ball from the wall, yeah, in your local park. There's a wall. You've played the ball to the wall. Oh my God, I have pressure. Okay, I'm going to give the ball back to the wall. Like a little bounce pass. You've seen so many players when they receive under pressure, they just give a little bounce and then they move away and then they receive again. So just those aspects are really, really important. I do it. I believe it will improve me 300%. Exact. Okay, great, good, good. Keep focusing on that, Daniel. That's good. That's where you'll get to the next level. Any other questions? Please drop in any other questions, and then
Boys,
we'll.
if you do have any more questions for Rafaz, feel free to put them in
Yes, please. Yeah,
the whatever,
exactly.
whatever works best for you. So we'll probably got around two or three more minutes, fellas. So honestly, whilst he's here, use his expertise, chuck it in the chat, and as you can see, he's more than willing to answer your questions. Okay, so Daniel, well done for asking so many. Um, Other boys that are on here, we've got three or four other players. So yeah, like I said, feel free to any questions you've got, put them in the chat.
What is the best thing to do before going on the pitch to get your confidence high? I would say if you try to focus on being confident, you're not going to be naturally confident because when you try to do something, it's a bit unnatural. But what you need to do is instead of focusing on, okay, I need to be confident, just ask yourself, why should I be confident? So not saying, what do I need to do to be confident? Why should I be confident? Oh, I've done my match analysis. I've done my team training. I've gone to the gym. I've had a good diet throughout the week. I've had the right amount of sleep. I've done my individual training specifically. I've done this, I've done that. You start to list out all the things you've done and you'll realize, whoa, I'm ready. I don't need confidence because I'm ready, right? You've got the list in front of you, and that's all you need. So instead of saying, okay, I need to do like that's why I understand pre-game rituals. I understand having a routine before a game, but also just listing out a few things will get you in the right mindset because you're like, so on Monday I did this, on Tuesday I did that, on Wednesday, wow, I did all of that stuff. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, now it's match day. wow, I've done so many things and I'm ready. That will automatically just give you natural confidence because you know you've done the work. When you haven't done the work, that's when you become nervous. That's when you're like, oh, am I really ready for this game? You know? But when you've done all the work, when you know deep down you've done everything you can to be ready for the game, you just go out and play. If I use the tactical board you used, can I play and improve myself tactically? Yes, you can use it. It's onlinetacticalboard.com. You can, you can buy yourself a little tactical board if you need to move a few things around. But if you're a player, you don't really need a tactical board. It's more about, yeah, as a player, just watch the plays in your position, really. Um, but yeah, it's really important that we understand that when it comes to the confidence bit, just listing out things, reasons as to why you should be confident will just give you that natural confidence. Don't don't like say, "Oh my God, I need to do this, I need to do that." Just ask yourself, what have I done? Earn the confidence, and you do it. You earn it by just putting the work from Monday to Friday to Saturday to whenever your match day is. Any other questions, guys? Thank you, Coach, for all your answers. I appreciate it, Daniel. Best of luck, Daniel. Um, anyone watching this, you can reach out to me on Instagram, on TikTok, and I'll try my best to answer your questions. If I don't answer in the messages, put your questions in the comments, and then I'll respond to your question in the comments. Sometimes I can't read the messages because there's too many, but in the comments, I'll see and just reply there. But yeah, apart from that, thank you for your time, and yeah, yeah, we're good, I think.